Welcome to the Disability News Report, Special Education Edition. I'm your host, Jennifer Price, where I'm here to answer just, common questions that you may have for special education or regarding special education. The question I'm answering today is, what is the best way to get my child evaluated if I suspect he has ADHD? Should I go to his primary care physician? So this question has a couple of different layers that I want to address. So the first question that I see is, how do I get my child evaluated if I suspect he has ADHD? Practically speaking, the best way to get your child evaluated, if you suspect ADHD, autism, any anxiety, any other disability, is to request it directly from the school. You need to request it directly from the school. That request needs to be in writing. And then you will then conduct and sign off on an evaluation, on a permission to allow the school to evaluate. So the reason why I say the best way to do this is to go to the school is because the schools have who they call certified school psychologists, and you need a conclusion from a certified school psychologist in order to take the next step towards getting an IEP. So the best way is to go to the school, tell them that you want your child to be evaluated for an IEP. And when you put that in writing. And once you put that in writing, then the next step will be that you sign off on what's called a permission to evaluate, which is just you giving consent to allow the school to evaluate your child. Now, the next part of the question, should I go to my PCP? I get this question all the time because a lot of parents do go to their PCP. You're already going to a PCP for various other reasons, and the doctor may be there and may make comments, and so he might write a note or something to the effect saying that your child has a disability. The thing about going to a PCP is the school is not legally required to accept a note or a letter or anything from a child's doctor regarding the disability. They're not legally required to then implement or provide an IEP based on what your primary care physician says. That being because the schools need something from someone who is also a certified school psychologist. It really begins to get into the nuances and differences between whether you have a disability and whether that disability is affecting them in the educational environment. And so without getting too technical, just getting something from a doctor could indicate that your child has a disability, but it doesn't indicate that the disability is affecting them in the school environment. And in order to get an IEP, it all comes down to what's affecting them in the school environment. However, that being said, if you already have something from your doctor stating that your child has ADHD or some other disability, what you can do is take that note to the school and provide them that information, because now the school is officially on notice, and that's legally significant that the school is on notice that your child has a disability, because it can require, depending on what happens in the school from that point forward with your child, from an academic standpoint, from a behavior standpoint, maybe from a discipline standpoint, it could put the school in a position to where they knew your child had a disability because they were at least placed on notice, and then they never acted upon that knowledge, meaning they never then took that letter from your doctor and requested an official evaluation from their school psychologist. So the note's not a bad thing. The note can serve as notice to the school that your child does have a disability. And if your child continues to have some problems in school in different aspects, academic, social, behavioral, then it can then trigger some action on the part of the school to then seek your permission to evaluate. However, the note from the doctor, from a legal standpoint, does not serve as enough in and of itself to simply get an IEP. Some districts are willing to give an IEP based on a note from the doctor. What I'm telling you is that from a legal standpoint, they don't legally have to do that. And many schools position themselves and operate from a position of what are they legally required to do. So if you're in a district and they're willing to give your child an IEP or a 504 based on a note from a doctor, great. You're not in that category of many other parents. If you're in the category of parents who are not able to receive anything, even though in spite of having a note from the doctor, that is the reason why. They don't legally have to, and they need, you as the parent are going to need a conclusion from a certified school psychologist stating that your child has a disability and that this disability is also affecting him in the school environment. All right, that's it for today. If you like the comment, don't forget to do the thumbs up, subscribe. Of course, if you want to come back and get the notifications, click the bell to get the notifications. And if you have a question that you want to see answered, because maybe you don't know if I'm going to answer it, comment. Let me know what your question is and I will get to it as soon as I can. See you next week.